Did you create the live scenario by yourself, Chairman Park Han-gil? And why it's only one sheet? In order to become successful in Atomy, you need to write the live scenario, and it is also the key to Success Academy. And I want to hear from you about the story of the one sheet of live scenario. Could you answer my question, Chairman? Actually, the one sheet live scenario, it took me 10 years to create it. Before starting Atomy, I spent 10 years to experience network marketing. 10 years. I worked as the salary-based CEO, and I also reached the highest level in a network marketing company. And I also created an organization, and I built an internet shopping mall for the entire network marketing companies. These are the things that I did for the 10 years. For 17 years, actually before doing that, I worked in the manufacturing sector, engineering plastic, which is used for the automotive components. So I believe I am the expert for the automotive industry. And I also provided the lecture, the technology seminar in Hyundai Motors before those people with doctor's degrees and master's degrees. Can I say I am the expert in technology? Of course, I didn't study the technology at school. Germany, Japan, the US, they are all developed countries. And I went there when I visited those countries to learn their advanced technology. For example, Krupp Caltex, a German company, they have machines. And Japan, Nippon, there is also a Japanese company building and manufacturing machines and American standard as well. I didn't really understand machines. Do you know how I studied machines? For example, I visit the German company and I would say the Japanese company, they say your machines have this and that problems. And then that's when they would say, no, the JSW, the Japanese machines have all those bad things and we have our advantages. So that's how I studied machines. And actually, all those machines are also produced in Korea, but that's 30 to 40 years ago. So there was no Korean company who can produce those machines. Only simple plastics were produced here in Korea. Those engineering plastic was something that we could not produce by ourselves. So GE has the plastic business team, and a German company, BASF ICI, those companies have the plastic. So I did the performance test and I did my research, and based on those knowledge, I introduced new technology to the automotive industry. Can you feel that I did a lot of research and a lot of work in the automotive industry, right?
So I could not plan very well for the retirement plans. So I had to think about what I should do from now on, maybe advanced technologies, logistics, because the third industry was logistics. But I've been in manufacturing for my entire career, so I could not see my future with them. So it was all blank and dark in front of me. 17 years at engineering school. I studied at night school and I did all the techniques and I learned every technique. Where I started from scratch when it comes to engineering, but I was not sure if other people will buy my product. So I read 250 books. And then I decided I have to make other people successful. So I read the relevant books. For example, Meet Me at the Top. Have you heard? the See You at the Top by Stephen Colby and the Seven Habits. I think the book earlier was by another author, and Stephen Colby wrote the Seven Habits of Successful People. I think we have to read them, right? And Hiram Smith, the 10 Natural Laws of Successful Time and Life Management, right? So all these famous Carnegie School and other famous people who were very expensive lecturers, and even beyond those lecturers, these 5 scholars, information and knowledge and experience were collected by myself, and I did the lecture by myself. If you study the entire 3 months, you will be very hungry and just studying. So to prevent that, I did the lecture. In a very short period of time, I can finish that. Every morning and every afternoon, a few hours each. And from after dinner, we write the scenario and make presentations. So I compressed the 3 months of knowledge and training material into a week. And can they be successful by getting trained like that? There's a problem. It's too complicated. It's really hard to follow. And those who can follow them, those who are able to do that, they actually don't need training. I train them really hard, but it's too difficult, it's too complicated to follow them. So the first thing is to write the letter of mission. What is the mission? What is the calling? So the 4 hours in the morning, I talk about mission. What is mission? It's not decided by myself. It's by nature. God decides the mission for me. So, for example, I have my parents, right? And I have my mission as I have my duty as their son. And what should I do? What duties do I have to fulfill? The failure duty is the duty. I'm a husband to my wife, then I have to love my wife. That's the duty. Make my wife happy. That is for sure. I have to do that. If I have children, I have to support them financially and guide them to have good morality. So each of the duties can be written by them, right, by the students, and as parents, as children, as wives, as husbands, or in the society, you have social positions as sponsor, as partner. What should sponsors do? And all these duties could be found. So it's not just to be successful I have become a sponsor to become successful. It's not that. It's not like that. What kind of orders are we getting as a sponsor? So these were the presentations they made. So from today on, I'm gonna start doing the project as a program. And then I did that. There were some issues. They're saying it's too complicated, I cannot do this. So in order to achieve these duties and missions, we need short terms, mid-terms, long-term goals, and among them, we have monthly plans and weekly, daily plans, and among the daily plans, we have heard from Stephen Colby. So what do we have to do? And the important things, urgent things. It's urgent, but it's not an important thing. So we categorized all these duties. And some of the duties are not important and not urgent. So we wrote down all the lists. So what should we focus? What should we prioritize? So all the urgent and important duties, everyone fulfills this duty. If my child gets sick, nobody would just ignore it, right? But some things are important but not urgent. For example, reading. We have to read to be successful, but it's not urgent. We have to serve neighbors. We have to do something to do that, but it's not urgent. So the priorities in our life, things that are not urgent but important. So we have to manage our time like that. But most of the people focus on not urgent, not important things. Watching soap operas, not important, not urgent. And it's time consuming. People are spending too much time on it. And chit-chatting with friends. Is it important? Nobody would remember the chit-chatting was about what. the next day, right? And then we make a phone call to do chit-chatting again. It's not important, not urgent, so we should not spend our time doing things that are not important, not urgent. Put first things first, right? So weekly, monthly, Carnegie and Stephen Covey, we can choose between the two depending on weekly or monthly. So we did that. And then what was the problem? They cannot take action. Then it's no useful. So it's no use at all. It's their life. And it's so the week of training was shortened to 3 days and 2 days. And now we have 40-minute lecture. You watch the video with the topic of life scenario writing, right? So with this one piece of paper, it's just the 50 hours of lecturing is compressed into this paper. The important thing is to have a clear vision. If we have a clear vision, then that vision will lead this person to become a successful person. So self-diagnosis, and it's actually complicated details, but it's compressed into one piece of paper. It took 10 years to create this. The first edition of Success Academy, Choi Gyu-jeong, Park Jeong-su next to me, they all attended the Success Academy, the first academy. And we had the same thing back then too. Less than 30 people gathered for 2 days to take part in the program, writing the life scenario. And another piece of paper was to think about promotion plans, income plans, and housing plans. Everything, all of these are in this book. And so we were writing the life scenario. I created this, but I think it's great. I think it's amazing. Why? Even an old lady that didn't even finish preschool can finish this. The life of contribution and serving. It's also in the 10 laws, the title 10 laws by the famous author. So it's all also in the book, all right? So if we want to live well physically, we need to make sure we are secure financially. Housing, for example, and all these were written down, and it's not very difficult to write it down. And how can you take care of your family and my education and the contribution to the society, like that. We were able to build this life scenario as a piece of paper. Even old ladies can make this. And I'm saying it's amazing not because it's written so simply. We get this, we receive this paper, and very highly educated people cannot complete this paper. Crown Master Chu Jin-han, he used to be very high position, and he graduated from an elite school, right? But still, he received this paper, and he heard the word balanced life for the first time in his life. So he looked back on his life. He went into the mountains, Songri Mountain, with tears in his eyes all night, thinking about what he should write down in life scenario. So it's that deep and profound. How about you, Park Jeong-su? Hi everyone, good evening. I am Park Jeong-su. I think I'm similar to Chu Jin-han, Master Chu Jin-han. I first came into contact with these words, and it was like panorama. That the whole life that I lived a very diligent life. The single goal is to become wealthy. I lived a life very diligently, but when I received this paper, I had nothing to write down on this paper. I felt very miserable. I couldn't write down anything when I first received this paper. And then, meanwhile, I had this question in my head. So I write this down, and will things change really? Will something happen? Will something be realized really if I do this? Anyone that experienced the same thing as me? I think I didn't have so much confidence, but we had no choice. Now you're having a choice to write it or not write it. But back then, when I received the paper, we went into the room and we had this time to write down the life scenario. And chairman was coming door to door, knocking and guiding us to write this and that, like guiding us how to write it down. And what I felt then is that how we say and how we write down actually guides us in our real life. If we do not do anything, say anything, or write anything down, we don't actually achieve anything. But if we do something, if we say something, write something down, our body just automatically moves. We can do something. So I hope you can write down your life scenarios too. Chairman Park read 250 books and he was able to guide us through the balanced life. And I admire you, Chairman Park. The piece of paper was created throughout 10 years. Now, how do you feel? The paper feels so precious, right? How about you, Choi Gyu-jeong? Hi, I'm Choi Gyu-jeong. Nice to meet you all. After I met Chairman Park, my life changed. I did 7 businesses and I failed every business. And I was able to listen to the chairman's lecture. And it was so impressive. I was so impressed and I have to change my job and take on new challenges. And I was engaging in cosmetics business before Atomy. Maybe you've heard of Jewelry Cosmetics. Maybe you're similar age with me if you know the brand. And Chairman was introducing the cosmetics product and he was so good at presenting it. And I had skin problems and no medicine could cure my eczema. So I was so surprised when Chairman made a speech about this product. And all of you here, most of you here must feel the same thing. So have you heard about the study of success? No one, right? I think a few, only a few. Chairman is saying that there is a study of success. And every 250 book was all talking about this study of success. So how can all the details in 250 books be collected and be compressed into this research? So I was thinking I should have done it more quickly. I should have known it earlier. It would have changed my life, I thought. So when I was first writing down my life scenario, I was writing down only a few things. Repaying my loans. One of my dreams was to build my own house. And I failed. I told you I failed multiple businesses. So I lost my grandpa's land. The land that my grandpa owned. So I wanted to do some amends for that too. Make amends for that too. So I think Chairman was talking about finishing the lectures late. And I was next to Chairman. He was knocking door to every door to guide students, guide people to write down life scenarios. And it was all until 2 a.m. in the morning. Most people would be taking a rest. And Chairman could have just slept in his own room, but he was knocking every door to tell people that they have to complete life scenarios properly. I think that made us the leaders now. You're so amazing, Chairman. The research, the outcomes of life scenarios are being shared. And they are the proofs, the living proofs, I think. So through life scenario, we are seeing a lot of research. Are you satisfied? Are you happy with the leader's success? At the beginning of the business, education, it was really strong compared to now. I think these days, successful economy is not as strict as before. At first, it was about 20 people. So the company motto, you should be memorizing this very thoroughly. And the management strategies and ideology, everything has to be memorized very thoroughly, right? And Grandmaster Choi Jong-su's mother, she was old. It's her, right? She always wears red shirt. Even back then, we didn't let him come to the stage, walk to the stage. We made people run to the stage. Very strict. And his mother was older than other people, so her performance to memorize company motto was rejected, did not pass multiple times. So because of this stammering, she had to go to the hospital because she shouted too many times. So why did I do that so strictly like that? So the early members were asking multiple times why I was so strict like that. Park Jeong-su, Choi Gyu-jeong, they were just sales masters or less. They were just members. And those members were educated so strictly like that because to me they look like a future prospective imperial masters, leaders of tens of thousands of contractors. If I'm not strict enough to them, all these life scenarios and all these passions will just go away, will just scatter away, I feared. That's why every night it ended after midnight. Even tonight, how about that? Let's continue after midnight. How about that? So it was only natural that my lecture finished after midnight. So it was about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And then that was when we started writing down life scenarios, connecting the dots. And how about the size of your house? You didn't write it down. And you cannot write down 5 years, 3 years. Because you will say 3 years after 3 years too. So you have to specify the date, the exact date, and the exact size of your house. And how about the money? You have to specify all these numbers. You can just write them down and then research later, okay? I told them. And by doing that, just like Choi Gyu-jeong told us, we were having lecture after midnight. I showered in my own sweat. And when I was giving lectures, then I only got about $10. How about meals? It was a condominium accommodation. So I just got a cost for accommodation. And then you have to cook your own meals. Imperial Master Park Jeong-su can cook, so she can cook many things. And how about Shim Jae-gap in Ulsan? He was only cooking his own instant noodles. He was having instant noodles every night. And then he would go to Park Jeong-su's team to get some pork belly meat. So it was one of the episodes, right? So back then, I think it's Imperial Master Kim Kyung-suk. No, it's Kim Kwang-yeol's wife, right? So she came to meet me. So I told her to come see me there. And later she said to me, Chairman invited me and then Chairman asked me to pay $10. So she was flustered. She could have told me and I could have paid for her. She couldn't pay that $10, so she was very embarrassed. It was an embarrassing situation for her, she later told me. So her husband was working on site in construction sites. Maybe that was why she was not financially stable. So every room I was knocking the door, and when I was stepping up the stairs, I had to hold on to the banister to go upstairs. I think Choi Gyu-jeong, I think you were just a member, right? He was supporting me. He was supporting my hips so that I could go upstairs. And then I go to the next door, next door, next door. That's how I did this guiding for writing down life scenarios. Yeah, it's a memory. So Chairman was knocking door to door, and this, I think, was very helpful for establishing the Atomy culture. As Chairman did that, we were supposed to write down the life scenarios. It's like our homework. And thinking that Chairman might knock our door, we were not able to drink alcohol in the room. Of course, drinking alcohol is not desirable under such circumstances, but I think Atomy's healthy culture now has been built up since then when Chairman was guiding us to write down the life scenarios. One person said to me that when we were having a seminar, Atomy members, even when there are 2,000 Atomians coming together, they're not shouting, they're very quiet and calm because they have homework. I love this atomic culture. We don't have drinking alcohol culture. For the success, we are getting trained, we take lectures, and at night, with sponsors and partners, we write down our life scenarios, the future that we envision. And I think it's really good for our atomic culture too. Our leaders should be doing the same thing as what chairman did for us, but we're not doing as well as chairman did, so I feel very sorry in a way. So atomic culture was established like this, and life scenario system is now very stabilized, right? So the first imperial master Park Jeong-su. So have you realized the future that you envisioned back then? Yeah, people realize the things that we envision. I think that's true. Back then, when I was writing down my life scenario, I was living in a small room with my kids. So housing was very important to me. And in the city of Iksan, there was an apartment house for rich people. If I were to live in that apartment house, it could be a luxurious life. It seemed to me it's really luxurious life. So I wanted to live there. That's why I wrote down that apartment house. And I showed the apartment house to my kids, saying that I'm gonna move to this house. Kids, see, okay? And the apartment that I was living in back then, it was not really dissatisfying. But still, I wanted to live in a bigger apartment house. I wanted to be living in a better apartment house, and it really happened. I just followed that in the dream that I envisioned.
And one more thing, which was very important for me, is education. I really wanted my kids to be fluent in English. So I want to send them to overseas countries, but I couldn't afford it. But after writing down my dreams to send my kids to overseas countries, I actually realized that I first started from the duck soup restaurant, and that's where I built the first center in Iksan. And I have the partners who would invite their potential leaders and customers to the restaurant. But I was not very happy to see them coming to the very poor restaurant. So my dream at the time was to build a great center, and this is the center that I have in Iksan, and this is something that many people come to see. This is the exam center. We are joined by many people, just like a tour. Sometimes we have hundreds of Atomians from overseas countries, and I have a lot of Atomians who want to take a look at my centers. Chairman said that Imperial Master Park Jong-suk wrote down the new history in the network marketing. That is because many people became successful in network marketing. After becoming successful, they build some buildings for themselves. But only few people build such buildings that I built for partners. And I am the first one who did that. That's what Chairman Park said. So this building is for my partners and for Atomians. Don't even wonder if you can realize the dreams that you wrote down in your life scenario. Just write them down. And after writing them down, you will naturally take actions. That's what I did. Thank you. The Iksan Center is a very most visited place for Atomians, just like a pilgrimage. And one of my partners said that I also want to build such a center like Imperial Master Park Jong-suk did, and she wrote that down in her life scenario. So you can take time to visit the center, and we can have a coffee break together. So, have you heard of the theory that can pull everything? We have three components in our body: the body itself, and have the flesh, spirit, and soul. So actually, we have the flesh, but there are a lot of activities done by spirit, our spirit and soul, and the spirit and soul have really great power that can make what you think a reality. That's what many people in the success theory says. And here we have a lot of living proofs. The mansion, the villa. Actually, he bought a land, and he has a story about the land. And right next to the land, there was a cattle shed. It smells bad, but the shed disappeared after a fire broke out. And later it turned out that the shed was built in an illegal way. So after the fire, the shed couldn't be built again. And actually, he bought the land at a very low price. I spent only $400K for 2,400 square meters because of the cattle shed next to it. But later on, the shed disappeared because of the fire. So this is also the very good story that demonstrates the power of spirit and soul. And everything that you think in your mind can change into a reality. Whatever you think in your mind is something that can become a reality. If you think of something that it cannot be realized, then that means you have a mental disease. For example, a 60-year-old lady, if she says she wants to become a general, then that is not very realistic, right? That is also illegal. So what we think in our mind is something very realistic. If you can imagine in your mind something, then that is something that you can actually realize. So don't even give up. The guy who want to buy a Porsche, just write them down, and that would encourage you to go up. For example, when did you write it down? When he went bankrupt. And I remember Master Park Jeong-su, she was a field owner of a restaurant. Actually, at the time, I didn't really fail. No, okay. So here we have the failed beggars right here and unfailed beggars. So he didn't fail, but he didn't have money. Even in those situations, he came to the Success Academy and wrote down the life scenario to build a White House. And now he actually did it. And he also bought the land at a very, very low price because of the cattle shed, but because it smells bad. But later on, the shed disappeared. This is miraculous. And these miraculous things can also happen to you. When I met them for the first time, I didn't have anything. I just speak well. And what I told them, everything that I told them became a reality. I said, I will give you $1 million with a forklift. And I said, I will guarantee that you can enjoy the business class. And I also said, Atomy will go global. And everything that I said at the time became a reality. So write everything in your mind down on the life scenario sheet. And in order to increase the possibility, you can announce your dream to everyone. How to do that? First of all, you should announce your dreams to your family members. So you should put the notes everywhere in your house, put the memos everywhere in your house, saying that I want to earn $100K every month, and tell your husband you did a great job, you did very hard work for a long period of time, and I will support you for your later life. And very soon you don't have to work, you can go travel, but please wait for 5 years. You should make that announcement to your children as well. Tell your dreams to everyone, and you can also announce your dreams to many other people, saying that you will become an imperial master. And that way, you will find some people who want to join you and will be able to reach your dream, reach your goals faster, at a faster pace than you even imagined. That is why many people say you should write down your dreams and announce your dreams, then you will be able to realize your dreams. So write it down and announce them to many people. You might feel anxious. What if I cannot do it? Actually, she is very picky. Of course, she's beautiful, but she's picky. And I said at the time, in the early days, I said I will go global. And after saying those things to them, I was really concerned. I became very anxious because she can blame me. She could blame me, right? But still, I try to be courageous to announce my dreams repeatedly. I had to become very courageous to say that. And before starting Atomy, for 10 years, I said I spent 10 years in the multi-level industry, and I spent 10 years to master success theory. And I failed after starting the online market. And I had to move to a small room. And do you know what I thought? It's a best timing to test the success theory. So I failed, living in a very small room, and I am the only person who can deliver the success theory lecture. I am the master of success theory, and if I fail, and if I fail to overcome this crisis based on what I learned for the success theory, then that means the theory doesn't work. But if I successfully overcome the difficulties, then that means the theory works very well. At the time, I suffered from liver hardening, and I had a friend who is a doctor. And he said he cannot cure my disease, and he said I will live only about 1 year or 3 months. And he said I have to go to a bigger hospital. And he said the big hospitals would tell you to do the liver transplantation, and which would cost you about $100K. And the special hospital will ask you to pay $100K. But if you don't have that much money, then you can visit another smaller hospital. And at that time, I collapsed because of the kidney hardening. And despite all the difficulties, I became rich and I became healthy. In early days, my leaders was very concerned about my health. But these days, I see some of the Imperials passing away. For example, Mr. Park. And we have 2 of them here right now, still here. Your husband did all the things for you, for your little life. And his daughter, at the time, the daughter, she was very young. The daughter was very young, and actually he was diagnosed with cancer, and he was paid by the insurance company for the diagnosis. But still, he spent the 10 years with a very healthy body to become successful in Atomy. She was not really concerned about her husband, and she was really concerned about her daughter. Of course, mothers care more about their daughters. And she spent 10 years for her husband and for her daughter as well. And Imperial Master Park Dong-chul, he tried to spread the gospel, visiting Canada and many other countries before passing away. So what was I talking about? So that's the end of my story. Thank you very much.